Hi guys, Wanderson here. In this tutorial I will teach you how to create a modern circular progress bar using Qt Quick and Python. This project can be reused both in your applications just by importing the QML file that we are going to create. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Let's start by creating a new project just like I taught in the Qt Quick and Python course in video 002. In the design window I will create two folders, one called QML, and within this one we will create another called components. After that we will create a file called circular progress bar. Choose new QML file Qt Quick 2. This file will be responsible for generating our custom component. After that we will drag our main QML file into the QML folder through Windows Explorer and return to the project. Let's start by importing the dependencies for our project. In Qt Quick it changes its version to 2.15, import Qt Quick Shapes in version 1.15, and also Qt Graphical Effects in version 1.15. In the item we will put an identification called progress. We will put the width 250 and height as 250. In the Form Editor tab we will also change the width to 250 and height to 250. Add a shape with the following parameters shown in the video, and then add a new component called shape path according to the steps in the video. This shape can be used to draw within Qt Quick, but in this case we will use this component to make our circular progress bar. Here we will define the colors of our line and also the fill color. Use the colors shown in the video. Let's set the width of our line to 16, and cap style as a rounded cap. The path angle arc is responsible for drawing, as the name says, arcs inside our shape. We will use this component to draw our circle from the bottom of our progress bar. Set the values as shown in the video, and the angle starting as -90, and sweep angle as 360. With that we can already visualize our circle. By placing a sweep angle like 180 we see that the icon was half, in the case with 180 degrees. What we are going to do now is to say that the x and y rays of our arc will have the width of our progress bar divided by 2. Minus the width of our arc also divided by 2. With that we can see that our circle is not escaping the viewing area. In the center X we will use the width of our item, and in center Y we will use the height of our item. When we do this we see that the circle leaves the viewing area. We will fix it now just by placing the X and Y values divided by 2. We will start creating our properties from our progress bar, where we will be able to access directly from our main QML after the end of this project. Let's start by creating the color properties for fill color and to stroke. We will also create a property for the stroke width and apply it. And by placing other values we can see how it will work. Let's create a new Boolean property that when true will return cap style as rounded, if false will return as flat cap. Before we continue with our project, we need to change the directory from which our main QML file is located in the main py to be able to run our application. And going back to our circular progress bar, we can see how this property we just created will work. Set the sweep angle to 360 and create a new property for the start angle of the integer type, and with a value of -90. After that we can copy our shape path that we just created and paste it below to create our progress bar that will receive the values. Rename the ID to path. In fill color we will make it transparent, because in this component we will not need to use the background color. Create our progress properties as shown in the video. After that, apply in the following parameters also as shown in the video. Done that, we can already see our progress bar, which is blue. We will create new properties which will contain the maximum value of our progress bar, and we will create a function to convert the D360 angle of our bar to percentage. Put 360 divided by the maximum value, and multiply by the property value. We are going to create a property for this value, which in this case will start at 0, until the maximum value we define. By default it will be from 0 to 100%. By placing other values in the value property, we can see that our progress is working correctly from 0 to 100, which will load the entire progress bar in blue color. Let's create a new property of the integer type for samples, which is responsible for the quality of the rendering of our animation. I recommend leaving this value as 12. Now let's start going to part of creating the text that will be in the center of our circular progress bar. We need to create a few more properties for our text, like font size, text color, and font family. Create all the parameters as shown in the video. After that, we will center the text horizontally and vertically and apply the parameters we just created above. Initially, we will put this text will be equal to the value of the circular progress bar. After that, we are almost finished with all the stages of creating the circular progress bar. Now let's open the main QML file and import this component that we just created. This will help us to have a better understanding of the whole process. Start by changing the window width to 800 and put a dark tone in the background as shown in the video. In QML file, we import our components by folders, so import the components folder and our circular progress bar. The name must be written exactly as it is in the file. Copy and paste this component 3 times, and then we will align them using the grid layout. In the grid layout set with 3 columns as shown in the video. Let's add a slide to control the values of the circular progress bar, but first we need to import the Qt Quick Controls component in version 2.15. Let's add the value of the slider to the value of our circular progress bar using the binding function by placing the name of the slider component with the value property. After that, repeat the process for the other progress bars. When running our application, we see that the data is already synchronized correctly, but we need to change the initial value and the final value of the slider. Put from to 0 to for 100 and value to 30. Our progress bar is working correctly, but we need to fix the error that is appearing in the text by adding a JavaScript function to correct this problem by leaving the numbers in integer values. We will create a function as shown in the video. This function will return the entire value and concatenate with the text we choose. Otherwise, it will only return the text. Now we can go back to our main file and test the functions we just created. Now to finish our component, we will add our last function, which is to add a drop shadow to the circular progress bar. First, change the background color of the window to a lighter shade. We will create an internal object that will contain this property, that will be responsible for applying and disabling the shadow to our component. Create a new object with the following settings shown in the video, adding a new property of component type that will contain a drop shadow effect. Also create the new drop shadow properties and apply them as shown in the video. To apply our circular progress bar, we will use the layer effects function, where we will say that when the shadow is enabled it will be visible, and when it is disabled return the value null. I see that when we go back to our main page, we can already see the shadow that has been applied to our progress bar, from which we can enable and disable. After that, we can test the other functions as shown in the video. I will leave the shadow status by default as disabled. That done, let's go back to the main QML. In each of the progress bars we create, go to the Layout tab, and add your alignment as centered. Now let's start aligning our components to the window of our application. Select the grid layout and also the slider and apply them to a new grid layout. Place the slider alignment as centered as well as the layout grid. Running our application, we see all the controls working correctly. Now let's customize the style of these progress bars so that we can better understand all the functions we just created earlier. Change the background color of the application to a dark color to make it easier to see the colors of the components. I'll change the width of the bottom line to the value 5. If you want to disable this bottom bar, just put the color as transparent. Customize the colors of the progress bar to fix the study. I will make a time lapse of this customization and try to do the same as you wish. Done that, we can see this modern and incredible component that we just created, where it can be used in infinite applications. This tutorial has come to an end. If you are not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and leave your like. Thanks to all Patreon supporters. See you in the next video.